Welcome to Timberland Farms. My name's Anthony. This is Timber, and behind me it's my 2018 Ram 2500 with a 6.7 liter Cummins turbo diesel. Right now it is experiencing poor heat out of the driver's side, so we're going to try addressing that today in a cheap, easy fashion. We're going to pop the hood. I already got the first latch undone, so we can just pop that open, and we're going to try pulling the heater core hoses off and flushing the system out of the heater core. Hopefully that will address our problems here, but I'll take you guys in and show you how to do that. So this is a common problem for these Ram trucks all the way back into 2010 to almost current. You're not going to notice any issues in the very, very current models, as they don't have enough miles on them typically to have this problem. This is strictly for 4th gens, and some of the 5th gens might have this issue where you have poor heat on the driver's side with a little bit better heat on the passenger side. Some people think it's a blend door problem or a blend door motor issue, but sometimes it is actually just the heater core being plugged up. This truck currently has about 85,000 miles on it. It's a 2018, so it's roughly about 6 years old. This truck has been very well for me. I have had to do very little to it. I've just done oil changes, fuel filter changes, and I haven't done anything else other than putting a set of tires on it and at 85,000 miles. So at 85,000 miles, I do want to get in there and change a transmission fluid as well as a transmission fluid filter. On these Dodge Ram trucks with a 68 RFE transmission, the automatic 6-speed, they do not have a drain bolt in the transmission pan. Why they don't do that is beyond me. It should be changed regularly between 50 to 75,000 miles in my opinion. I haven't got it that far yet. Some people don't change it for the life of the truck, which, boy, if you don't do that. These transmissions are known to be very reliable on stock power levels. Once you start deleting and tuning these trucks, the transmissions don't really seem to hold up very good. So I want to give this thing the best fighting chance I can, as these transmissions are very, very expensive to replace. Just to give you guys a reference of where we are working, the general vicinity, this is your engine, obviously. It's an inline 6, so you're going to have stuff on either side of it. There's not enough room front or back behind it or in front of it to put many accessories. So we're going to be on the passenger side of the engine. This is our coolant reservoir right here. It's going to be between the coolant reservoir and the engine block. Just below this mess here is going to be your turbo, so we're going to be working above our turbo, but still on the firewall right here. So you're going to have one coolant hose coming off of the block here, just down inside right here, and then you have another coolant hose that ties into the EGR system. So we can undo these clips here off the EGR system. So we can undo the hose clamp clip, the spring clip, off of the hose that goes to the EGR system, as well as the one that plugs into the engine block here. So the required tools you're going to need are pretty simple. You're going to need yourself a garden hose, like I got here. Just a normal nozzle on the end will work. This has a taper on the end of it, so it's going to fit on that heater hose pretty well. It'll adjust to different sizes of your heater hose. I believe this is a 5/8 heater hose if you want to get something that's a little bit more secure. But the biggest thing is you want a way to shut the hose off. If you don't have a nozzle on your garden hose, you obviously have your, you can kink the hose. So what you want to do is you want a quick burst of water pressure. I could do that like this with kinking the hose, and then I can open it back up and then have a burst of water. And I can open it back up and I have a burst of air. A burst of water. There's air coming out of it because I just hooked the hose up. A couple other simple tools you're going to need. You're going to need a decent set of pliers. Right here I have a set of slip joint pliers, just your standard run-of-the-mill pliers. These ones are snap-on ones, but you don't have to have that. And you can also use some needle nose pliers. These ones have an offset, make it a little bit easier to get onto deep down in the crevice where you need to get that heater hose clamp removed. Pardon the shaky video. I'm just going to hold my GoPro here. But the first hose in question is going to be this guy down below this one here that goes to your reservoir tank. So that goes down to your EGR system, as well as this heater hose down here. So if you follow this, this one goes into the passenger side of the heater core. And then the other one in question is down here going into your engine block right there. So I believe this is your EGR system right here. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comment section below. And then you do the same for the heater hose down underneath the firewall right here, the wiper towel. So I'm gonna do this one off of camera, because it's so deep inside there. Okay, now that you have your hose clamps removed, got that one slid back, as well as that one slid back there, you can pull the hoses off. But before you do that, there is going to be coolant in the system, and if your truck is currently warm like mine is right now, there might be built up pressure within that. So for one, you're going to want a drain pan underneath your vehicle, a pretty good sizable one, because it's going to drip all over your components on the side of your engine and stuff as you're doing this. I already have a drain pan under to catch the coolant that's going to come out. So then we can wiggle these guys off. Now if they're tight and hard to get off, you can wiggle a screwdriver in there between the fitting that the hose slides onto and the hose itself. These should not be too terrible. You are going to lose some coolant, but we got our heater hose off. And then you can do the same on the other side. Okay, so what I just did is I took that heater hose, and sorry about the camera lens getting fogged up. It's a little warm still in the engine bay here, but I took that heater hose and tucked it down underneath the frame rail there, so it's pointed down, so I'm not going to be spraying all the engine components with water. Then you can just take your hose up to your other side here and give it bursts of water. So I'm just giving it some pulses of water and then draining the rest of that water from the other hose into my pan. Give it like 10-15 second bursts and then letting off. And then I'll repeat it to go in the opposite direction. It's a little bit more difficult because this hose is shorter than the other one, so I won't be able to get that one to go down the side and into the pan as easily. Once you've completed that, you can reinstall your hoses. And they should just simply slide back into place. Just like that. Then you can slide your hose clamp, the spring clamps, back into the position where they were before. Starting to get a little dark out. It's a lot darker off camera than it is on camera. But once you have your coolant lines hooked back up from your heater core back to where they belong, one on the engine block and one on your EGR system, you can go ahead and check the coolant reservoir. It probably needs to be topped off just a little bit. And then go ahead, start your engine, let it get up to operating temperature, warm up. Make sure that when you are checking it, you're checking it when it's cooled down, not when it's hot. The system's going to be under pressure when it is hot. So now we can go inside and turn our key. Being it's a diesel, it's going to want to wait to start. In most cases, this is already warm. And we can fire it up, and we have a low coolant light on. This low coolant light is actually on because the sensor is bad. I might make a video on that in the future on how to replace that sensor. Sometimes it's just a sensor, sometimes it's a tank, sometimes it's both. So our coolant temperature is currently 136 degrees, so according to that data, we should be able to achieve 136 degrees out of our heat vents here. So we're going to put this on full face wind, and then we're going to turn our heat in the max position, and then we're going to turn our fan speed on high. That blend door is now actuating, as our coolant temperatures are rising. What we're looking for here is a similarity in heat temperature coming out of the passenger side and driver's side vents. Now it will take a second for the coolant to refill that heater core back up again, because we just drained it and filled it up with cold hose water. So we'll give this a couple minutes and then we're gonna try. So now that we have let the engine cycle a little bit, we can feel the heat on both sides. It is still a little bit warmer on the passenger side than on the driver's side, but the driver's side is a little bit warmer than it used to be. So I'm the second owner of this vehicle. I've had this truck for about 3 to 4 years now, and this is the first time I have done this flush on this particular vehicle. I have done it on other Rams in the past, as well as changing heater cores in my second gen Dodge. So I think the book time on replacing the heater core in this truck is between 6 and 10 hours. It's a pretty lengthy process. You have to pull the dash apart in order to gain access to that heater core. Between feeling the driver's side and passenger side, they're starting to feel pretty even now. So I think we accomplished our goal, but I'll do an update video tomorrow, and I'll include into this video to tell you guys how this is. I'll go drive this for a day and see if there's any improvement on the heat coming out of the truck. Well, it has been a couple days, and it has been cold in those last couple days, and I tell you what, the heat is tremendously better. Hopefully this will help you in your Ram trucks. It should also work from second gen to third gen trucks, as well as the fourth gen like I have behind me. I do also have a second gen, but I tried that on this years ago and tried this on that truck years ago, and it did not work. I ended up having leaks in my heater core, ended up having coolant leaking on my passenger floorboard, so I ended up having to go in there and replace my heater core. But it is very cheap and expensive to do. It doesn't really cost you much of anything, just a little bit of your time. So it is worthwhile, in my opinion, to try this before putting a heater core in. So the heater core replacement job on this book value is about 10 to 11 hours, I do believe. It's very invasive in how you have to replace the heater core in this. Currently raining out now, and it's supposed to get down to 1 degree this weekend. So it's supposed to be 1 degree on Sunday. Hopefully I actually see you guys on Sunday, 9 a.m. I'll be posting a video. I'll be either in the wood yard, or I'll be in the shop at Dusty's. And currently in the shop at Dusty's, we have a 2006 Case JX75 with a shuttle system issue. So it is going into forward just fine, but it has difficulty going into reverse. So we're going to dive into that, very similar to that John Deere 4020. We're going to split the tractor in half in order to fix that. So I hope to see you guys then, and I appreciate you sticking around this long. If you could, hit that thumbs up button. It helps out the channel tremendously, and I'll catch you on the next one.